On the remote planet Zerath 9, the sky glowed with strange colors. Twin suns bathed the land in amber and violet light, casting long shadows across the jagged mountains and rolling plains. The air was thin, but breathable, and strange. Whispering, winds carried the scent of alien flora that shimmered in hues humans had never seen. Among this alien world, a team of humans moved carefully, stepping over uneven rocks and streams that glowed faintly in the dim light. Ethan Drake, a human medic and scientist, led the group. He was tall and calm, with careful eyes that missed nothing. He had come to Zerath 9 on a humanitarian mission. The planet's inhabitants, the Xylans, were recovering from a virus that had swept across their colonies. Many lives had been lost, and the survivors were weak and frightened. Humans had arrived to help with medical expertise and technology. Ethan had worked on many planets before, but Zerath 9 felt different. There was a sense of silence, of tension in the air, as if the planet itself held its breath. The team's task that day was to deliver medical supplies to a small outpost near the river plains. The outpost was said to house important diplomats and citizens recovering from illness. As the team neared the outpost, a sudden scream cut through the air. It was a high, musical sound, urgent and fearful. Ethan's heart tightened. He ran toward the source, ignoring the rocky terrain beneath his boots. He rounded a bend in the path and froze. A Xylan woman lay on the ground, her body trembling. Her skin was pale with a faint blue hue, and her large eyes were wide in fear. Her breathing was shallow and erratic, and her hands shook uncontrollably. She wore ceremonial robes, suggesting she was someone of importance. "Medic!" a Xylan guard shouted in broken English. She cannot breathe." Without hesitation, Ethan knelt beside her. The alien's chest barely rose and fell. Her face, delicate and finely shaped, was marked by strain and fear. He checked her pulse, weak, irregular. Her oxygen levels were dangerously low. "Stay calm," he said gently, more to himself than anyone else. "I can help her." The humans and Xylans stepped back, giving him space. Ethan had learned to control panic in emergencies. He had trained for situations where seconds could mean life or death. He placed one hand on her forehead and the other under her chin. Her jaw was stiff, lips pale. Carefully, he opened her airway and began artificial respiration, exhaling slowly into her lungs while watching for any sign of recovery. Minutes passed like hours. Ethan's focus never wavered. His mind worked quickly, adjusting technique, calculating the perfect rhythm. Slowly, her chest began to rise more steadily. A faint color returned to her skin. Her trembling eased, and her eyelids fluttered. Liara, the Xylan diplomat, gasped as she regained consciousness. Her large eyes focused on Ethan, searching, uncertain. She did not speak. Her voice, if it existed, was trapped somewhere in panic and pain. "You're safe now," Ethan said softly. "You're going to be okay. Just breathe." The guard nodded repeatedly, relief washing over his face. Ethan continued, making sure every breath he gave her counted. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, she coughed weakly and took her first independent breath. Her eyes filled with wonder, and then gratitude. "You saved me," she said in her musical language, the words slowly forming through trembling lips. Ethan smiled. "I just did what anyone would do," he replied. The team helped her sit up and wrapped her in a thermal blanket. Ethan observed her carefully. Something in her physiology seemed unusual. Unexpected reactions, subtle changes in skin tone, and a small, almost imperceptible pulse pattern that suggested her body was responding to his intervention in ways he had never seen. "Is she?" one of the Xylan scientists whispered. Ethan shook his head. "I don't know, but we need to monitor her closely. She's been through trauma. We have to be careful." As they carried Liara to the medical tent, she finally spoke more clearly. I am Liara," she said. "You helped me. Thank you." Her voice was faint but steady, like music. Ethan nodded. "I'm Ethan. You're safe now, Liara. That's all that matters. Inside the tent, Liara's condition slowly stabilized. Human medical devices were adjusted to her alien biology. Ethan checked her vitals repeatedly. Every measurement showed that she was recovering, but something extraordinary was happening. Her reproductive system, long thought to be dormant, showed subtle signs of activity. Ethan did not yet understand the significance, but a quiet sense of awe grew inside him. As he observed, Liara's gaze followed him. She seemed to sense the connection, a bond forming not through words, but through shared vulnerability and trust. She had been considered infertile among her people, a fact that carried shame and isolation. Humans had no such prejudice, and Ethan's actions had been purely instinctive, purely human. Yet the consequences of this instinct might be far greater than either of them realized. Hours passed. Liara rested, breathing steadily, eyes occasionally fluttering open to observe her surroundings. The humans and Xylans watched with cautious respect. Whispered conversations began among the diplomats outside the tent. Some were impressed by the humans' bravery, others suspicious of what this event might mean for politics and alliances. Ethan remained focused on Liara. He prepared a simple meal suitable for her physiology, adjusted the tent's environmental controls, and monitored her constantly. He asked questions gently, not rushing her, giving her space to regain strength. Slowly she began to respond, first with nods, then short words. Trust grew. Will I live? Liara asked quietly. You will, Ethan said with certainty. You're strong. You're alive. That's what matters. For the first time, Liara allowed herself to relax. She had been alone, feared, and shunned for her condition. The accident could have been the end. Instead, a human's instinct to help had saved her. She felt an unfamiliar warmth, gratitude, hope, and something deeper she could not yet name. Outside, the sun began to set, casting long purple shadows over the plains. Ethan stepped outside briefly, taking in the alien landscape. He had never seen anything so beautiful, yet so dangerous. He knew that life on Zerath 9 was fragile. Every action mattered. Every choice could change outcomes not just for one person, but for entire communities. Inside the tent, Liara slowly sat up, her breathing steady, her mind alert. She looked at Ethan with eyes that seemed to search for understanding, perhaps answers to questions she had never dared to ask. You are different, she said softly. Ethan smiled. Maybe, but maybe we're not so different, you and I. We both want to survive. We both want to help. A faint sound from her body caught his attention, a reaction that puzzled him. He checked her vitals again and noted a small but significant change. He did not fully understand it yet, but a sense of wonder and caution filled him. This simple act of saving her life had set something extraordinary in motion, something that neither human nor Xylan could have predicted. As night fell, the medical tent glowed softly with artificial light. Outside, the alien stars shimmered, reflecting in Liara's wide eyes. For the first time in a long time, she felt safe, cared for, and hopeful. She knew her life had changed forever, but she could not yet see the full picture. Ethan remained by her side, watching, ensuring her breathing stayed regular, unaware that this small, instinctive act of artificial respiration might lead to a miracle that would challenge everything her people thought possible. And in the quiet of Zerath 9's night, a spark of life, hope, and unexpected destiny had begun. The days after the rescue passed slowly, each one carrying a mix of relief and tension. Liara rested in the medical tent, her strength returning gradually. The team of humans monitored her every heartbeat, every breath, and every subtle movement. Ethan remained close, his presence steady and calm. Liara had begun to speak more, though cautiously. Her words were soft, her tone hesitant. She shared fragments of her life with Ethan, tales of diplomacy, of her people's customs, and of her secret burden, the stigma of infertility. Among the Xylans, bearing offspring was a sign of strength and honor. Liara's inability to do so had left her isolated, doubted, and even pitied. Her position as a diplomat had been tolerated, but whispers followed her wherever she went. Ethan listened with quiet understanding. He said little, letting her speak. His human perspective did not carry judgment, only concern and curiosity. He had faced many medical mysteries before, but Liara's condition was unlike anything he had encountered. Something in her physiology was responding to his care in ways no human device could fully explain. One morning, as Ethan checked her vitals, he noticed a subtle change. Her hormone levels were fluctuating in patterns unexpected for someone considered infertile. Her body was responding, growing stronger, more active. Ethan's mind raced. Could it be possible? Could his act of artificial respiration, something simple, instinctive, human, have triggered a biological response she had never experienced? Liara watched him quietly. Is something wrong? She asked. Ethan shook his head slowly. No, not wrong. Just unusual. Your body is reacting in a way I did not expect. It's remarkable. Her large eyes widened. Remarkable? She echoed. A flicker of hope crossed her face. She had never allowed herself to hope. Yes, Ethan said. You're stronger than anyone believed. We need to monitor you carefully, but I think there is a chance for something new. Liara's mind raced. The words he used were simple, but their meaning was profound. She had never imagined this possibility. A spark of life, something she thought impossible, was growing inside her. As the days went on, the signs became clearer. Small, subtle changes indicated that her reproductive system was active, something her people had believed forever lost. Scientists from both human and Xylan teams ran tests again and again, their instruments confirming the impossible. Murmurs spread among the diplomats. Liara's body was defying centuries of medical understanding. Ethan remained focused on her well-being. He explained each test, each reading in simple terms, ensuring Liara understood what was happening. He reassured her when fear crept in. We are careful, he said. Nothing will happen to you. You are safe and everything will be watched. Liara's feelings toward him changed. At first she had been cautious, wary of humans and their strange ways. Now she began to trust him fully. She admired his patience, his kindness, and the way he treated her as an individual, not a problem to solve. Slowly an unspoken bond formed. She could not name it yet, but it was stronger than anything she had felt in years. Meanwhile, outside the tent, the Xylan political scene began to stir. Rumors of Liara's condition spread quickly. Among her people, reactions varied. Some viewed it as a miracle, evidence of divine favor. Others saw it as a disruption, a threat to the delicate balance of alliances and social order. Debate and tension began quietly, behind closed doors. Ethan was aware of the subtle political implications but chose to focus on Liara. She was fragile emotionally, and any pressure could harm her. He provided comfort and reassurance, keeping the outside world at bay. One afternoon, Liara experienced a new sensation, a warmth, a subtle shift within her body. She felt a deep connection, a tiny rhythm she could not explain. Fear and hope battled inside her. She hesitated before speaking. Ethan, I think something is happening, she whispered, her voice trembling. Ethan's eyes widened slightly, but he kept his calm. Tell me exactly what you feel, he said gently. Liara described the sensations, the pulsing, the warmth, the strange new energy. Ethan listened carefully. He ran tests again, and the results were astonishing. Liara was showing the first clear signs of pregnancy. Her body, long thought incapable, was now carrying life. The revelation shocked both humans and Xylans. Ethan was careful not to speak too loudly or cause alarm. He explained the situation simply. It is unprecedented. You are pregnant. Your body has adapted. This is a miracle. Liara's eyes filled with tears. She had never imagined this could happen. Fear mingled with joy. She thought of her people, the shame she had carried, and the lonely years she had endured. Now a new life had begun inside her, changing everything. Over the following days, Ethan guided her through this extraordinary journey. He explained each development, each change in her body, and reassured her constantly. He ensured she rested, ate properly, and stayed safe. He became not just her medic, but her support, her protector, and in some ways her companion. Liara, for her part, began to open up further. She shared memories of her childhood, her dreams, and the pressures she had faced as a diplomat. She spoke of the fear of failure, of being unable to fulfill the expectations of her family and society. With Ethan, she could speak freely without judgment. She felt safe in his presence, a rarity in her life. yet the outside world continued to stir. Word of her pregnancy began to reach other Xylan diplomats. Some were amazed, viewing Ethan as a hero who had brought new hope. Others whispered of disruption and danger. How could a human, a foreigner, influence the life of a prominent Xylan diplomat? The idea unsettled many. Despite these tensions, Ethan remained focused. He knew the risks, but he also knew that Liara's well-being came first. He spent hours with her, monitoring her health, providing guidance and offering reassurance. Slowly, she began to believe that this miracle could truly be real. One evening, as the twin suns set over the horizon, painting the sky in amber and violet, Liara looked at Ethan with a mixture of wonder and gratitude. "You saved me," she said softly. "And something more." Ethan shook his head gently. "I just helped you breathe," he replied. "Everything else is nature. Your body, your strength. You made this possible too." Liara smiled faintly. For the first time in her life, she felt hope without fear. She thought of the life growing inside her, a new beginning that could change everything for her people. She realized that Ethan's simple act of care had not only saved her life, but had set in motion a future she had never dared to imagine. The days passed, and her pregnancy progressed. Ethan observed each change, ensuring her safety. Liara grew stronger, her body adapting beautifully. She felt the first subtle movements of the child within her, tiny shifts and rhythms that connected her to something greater than herself. Despite the miracle, the political tension remained. Some Xylans were curious, some cautious, and some openly skeptical. Ethan knew that the consequences of this pregnancy could ripple far beyond their tent. Yet for now he focused only on Liara, providing care, support, and calm. Liara began to see Ethan not just as a medic, but as someone who understood her, someone she could rely on. She shared laughter, memories, and fears with him. Trust and connection deepened, bridging the gap between species in a way that had seemed impossible before. One quiet night, Liara lay in the tent, feeling the subtle heartbeat of the life within her. She closed her eyes, thinking of the long path that had brought her here. Fear, isolation, and near death, followed by rescue, care, and now hope. She knew her life would never be the same. And as she drifted to sleep, she felt a quiet joy, a life once thought impossible now growing inside her. Outside, the alien world of Zerath 9 remained vast and mysterious. Stars glittered across the sky, whispering secrets of the universe. Ethan watched over Liara, aware that something extraordinary had begun. A human act of compassion had changed not just her life, but perhaps the destiny of an entire species. And in that moment, as the night wrapped the planet in quiet serenity, a sense of wonder and possibility filled the air. Life in its most miraculous form had begun. The news of Liara's pregnancy spread quickly throughout the Xylan settlements on Zerath 9. Whispers turned into discussions, and discussions grew into heated debates. Among the diplomats, some celebrated the unprecedented event as a blessing, a sign that humans could bring hope to their species. Others were skeptical, seeing the humans' involvement as a dangerous interference. Inside the medical tent, Ethan remained focused. Liara's condition was stable, her health strong, and the baby growing as expected. Each day, Ethan monitored her vitals, provided guidance, and ensured she rested. Liara's body had adapted to carry life in ways that were considered impossible. It was a scientific miracle, a moment that neither human nor Xylan could have predicted. Liara watched him with quiet gratitude. Her trust in Ethan had grown beyond respect. She now felt a deep bond, one built on shared experience, care, and survival. She marveled at how this human had come into her life, saving her when all seemed lost, and now supporting her through something extraordinary. "You stay with me even now," she said one morning, her voice soft. "I do not understand fully, but I am grateful." Ethan shook his head gently, a small smile on his face. "It's not about understanding fully. It's about being here. You are not alone. I will make sure you and the child are safe." Outside, the political tension grew. Some Xylan leaders insisted on ceremonies and formal inspections to ensure the pregnancy was genuine and not a trick. Others saw it as an opportunity, a bridge between humans and Xylans, a chance to strengthen alliances. Despite the differing opinions, there was no denying the truth. Liara was carrying life. As the days turned into weeks, Liara's health continued to improve. She regained her strength and began walking outside the tent with Ethan by her side. The alien sun warmed her skin, and the winds whispered through the plains carrying scents of flowers she had never noticed before. Every moment of freedom felt like a gift, every breath a triumph over what had once seemed impossible. Ethan guided her carefully. He explained how her body was changing, how the baby was developing, and what to expect in the coming weeks. His explanations were simple, clear, and reassuring. Liara listened closely, feeling comforted by his calm presence. One evening, as the twin suns set and the sky turned shades of violet and gold, Liara turned to Ethan. "I feel the child moving," she whispered, placing a hand over her abdomen. The sensation was subtle, but it filled her with awe. It is real." Ethan knelt beside her, placing a hand over hers. "Yes, it is real. You are creating life, a new beginning." He looked into her eyes. "You did this. Your body, your strength. I only helped you start the journey." Liara smiled, tears forming in her eyes. For the first time, she felt joy without fear. She thought of her people, the shame she had carried for years, and the life that now grew inside her. This child was not just a miracle. It was a symbol of hope, a bridge between species, a reminder that compassion and care could change destinies. But the challenges were far from over. Some Xylan factions remained cautious. They feared the implications of a human-influenced pregnancy, worried about traditions, inheritance, and diplomacy. Meetings were called and debates were held. Ethan was invited to attend not as a diplomat, but as a witness and protector. His calm, confident presence helped reassure the uncertain delegates. In one such meeting, a senior diplomat questioned him directly. "You claim no harm was done, yet you are human. How can we trust your intentions?" Ethan met the diplomat's gaze steadily.
"My only intention was to save her life."
"I acted when she needed help. That is all. Everything else is beyond my control." Silence followed. Some nodded in agreement, others muttered, but none could deny the results. Liara was alive, strong, and carrying life. The evidence was clear. As the political tension settled, Ethan and Liara spent quiet days together. They shared meals, stories, and laughter. Liara's confidence grew and she began to think about the future, not just for herself, but for her child. She wondered what it would mean for her people and for humans who had come to help. One afternoon, as they walked along the glowing river plains, Liara spoke softly. "I never thought I would feel hope again. You saved my life. You gave me a chance I did not believe I could have." Ethan looked at her, his expression gentle. "You saved yourself too. You survived. You trusted me. That courage matters as much as anything else." Liara reached out, placing a hand on his arm. "I'm grateful," she said. "More than words can say." As the weeks passed, the child grew stronger. Liara felt each movement, each subtle kick, as if the baby was already communicating with her. Ethan helped her record every development, carefully noting changes and providing guidance for her health. He marveled at the resilience of her body and the mystery of life itself. Then came the day of the ceremonial acknowledgement. Xylan leaders gathered, diplomats from different settlements observing cautiously. The human and Xylan medical teams confirmed the pregnancy in front of everyone. The atmosphere was tense, charged with a mixture of awe, curiosity, and relief. Ethan stood beside Liara as she addressed the assembly. Her voice, clear and strong, carried across the hall. "This child represents hope. Life is precious, and it cannot be measured by past failures or expectations. I am alive, I am strong, and I am carrying the future." The assembly fell silent. Some whispered to each other, others nodded slowly. The event marked a turning point, a moment that bridged human compassion and Xylan tradition. Ethan's role, once questioned, was now recognized as essential. He had not just saved Liara's life, but he had set in motion a new possibility for interstellar cooperation. After the ceremony, Liara and Ethan returned to the quiet of the medical tent. She sat beside him, her hand resting lightly on her abdomen. "Do you think the child will be accepted?" she asked, concern in her eyes. Ethan smiled. "If your people see what you have endured and what this child represents, they will understand. Acceptance takes time, but hope is stronger than doubt." Liara nodded, a sense of peace settling over her. She thought of the journey, from near death to recovery to life growing within her. She thought of the human who had saved her, who had stayed by her side without hesitation, and she felt a deep, unspoken connection. Night fell, and the twin moons rose over Zerath 9, casting a soft glow over the plains. Liara lay down, feeling the steady rhythm of the life inside her. Ethan stayed nearby, watching over her, reflecting on the miracle they had witnessed together. A simple act of care had created ripples far beyond what either of them had imagined. In that quiet moment, Liara whispered, "Thank you." Ethan shook his head, his voice calm and sure. "No, thank you. For trusting me. For surviving. For giving life." The stars glittered across the alien sky, and the wind carried a sense of promise. Life had begun, fragile yet unstoppable. Hope had been reborn, and the bond between human and Xylan was stronger than ever. Ethan realized that humanity's greatest strength was not technology or weapons, but compassion, courage, and the instinct to help when others were in need. Liara realized that she was no longer defined by her past, her condition, or the doubts of others. She carried life, a future, and a story of resilience that would inspire her people for generations. As the night deepened, a gentle movement stirred inside Liara. She smiled softly, placing a hand on her belly. The child inside her was more than a miracle. It was a symbol of hope, trust, and the unexpected beauty of life. Ethan watched her, a quiet pride swelling within him. Together they had faced fear, uncertainty, and the impossible, and together they had created something extraordinary. And as the moons of Zerath 9 shone brightly in the sky, the world seemed to whisper a promise. Life would continue, stronger than ever, and humanity's courage and care could shape destinies in ways no one had ever imagined.